Hi everyone, welcome to Simple Concepts. I'm your educator Niyati Paul. Guys, this particular lecture will cover the entire topic communalism, its meaning and issues, and this particular topic is there in your syllabus GS paper 1. If you want notes of this particular topic and the other lectures which we will be conducting on our channel in the form of PDFs, then you can join our Telegram group. The link of the group is given in the description below. Also, if you are unable to find this group, then just go to your Telegram account in the search bar, search for Simple Concepts UPSC. There you'll get our group. So having said that, let's start with today's lecture. So, communalism is basically referred in the Western world as a theory or system of government in which virtually autonomous local communities are loosely in federation. Communalism is a political philosophy which proposes that market and money be abolished and that land and enterprises to be placed in the custody of community. But in the Indian subcontinent, the context of communalism has come to be associated with tensions and clashes between different religious communities in various regions. Now, development of communalism as a political philosophy has roots in the ethnic and cultural diversity of Africa. It is characterized as people from different ethnic groups or community who do not interact much or at all, and this has somewhere acted as hindrance in the economic growth and prosperity of Africa. Now, communalism in South Africa is used to denote the differences between the various religious groups and difference among the people of different community, and generally it is used to catalyze communal violence between these groups. Communalism is not unique only in South Asia, but also it is found in Africa, America, Europe, Australia and Asia. But it is significant socio-economic and political issues in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, etc. So now here comes the basic question, what exactly is communalism? So it is basically an ideology which consists of three elements. First one, it is a belief that people who follow the same religion have common secular interest, that is, they have same political, economic and social interest. So here socio-political communalities arises. Second one is the notion that in multi-religious society like India, these common secular interests of one religion are dissimilar and divergent from the interest of the follower of another religion. Third one is the interest of the follower of different religion or different communities are seen to be completely incompatible, antagonist and hostile. So overall, communalism is a political trade in religion. It is an ideology on which communal politics is based, and communal violence are conjectural consequences of communal ideology. Now let us go on to another interesting question as to how evolution of communalism was started in Indian society, how it evolved basically. So if we discuss about Indian society, we will find that ancient India was united and no such communal feelings was there. People lived peacefully together. There was an acceptance for each other's cultures and tradition. For example, Ashoka followed religious tolerance and focused mainly on Dhamma. Now in medieval period it so happened that we have few examples such as Akbar, who was epitome of secular practices, and he believed in propagating such values by abolishing jizya tax and starting off Dinai and Ibadat Khana. Same acceptance for different cultures and tradition was practiced in several kingdoms throughout India, because of which there was peace and harmony, barring few sectarian rulers like Aurangzeb, who was least tolerant for other religious practices. But such motives were guided purely for their personal greed of power and wealth. Now such rulers and their actions by them, like imposing taxes on religious practices of other community, destructing temples or destroying them, forced conversions, killing of Sikh gurus, etc., were instrumental in deepening and establishing the feeling of communal differences in India. But these incidents were not common, as huge majority of Indians were rural and were aloof from such influences, and so people coexisted peacefully. Though they were rigid in practicing their own rituals and practices, but it never became barrier in the peaceful coexistence. Overall, the Hindus and Muslims in those days had common economic and political interest. Now, communalism in India is a result of emergence of modern politics, which has roots in partition of Bengal in 1905 and feature of separate electorate government under the Government of India Act 1909. Later, the British government also appeased various communities through communal award in 1932, which faced strong resistance from Gandhiji and others. All these acts were done by the British government to appease Muslims and other communities for their own political needs. This feeling of communalism has deepened since then, fragmenting the other Indian society and being a cause of unrest. Now, communal award or colonial government mandated that consensus over any issues among different communities, that is Hindu and Muslims, Sikhs and others, is precondition for any further political development. Communal consciousness arose as a result of transformation of Indian society under the impact of colonialism and the need to struggle against it. Let us now understand the stages in Indian communalism and how it got spread. So, India is a land of diversity, as we all know, and it is known for lingual, ethnic, cultural and racial diversity. As we have discussed above, communalism in India is a modern phenomenon which has become threat to India's unity and diversity. We will see the various stages for now. So the first stage was the rise of nationalist Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, etc., with only first element of communalism as discussed above. Roots of these were led in the later part of 19th century with Hindu revivalist movement like Shuddhi movement of Arya Samaj and cow protection rights of 1892. On the other hand, movements like Faraizi movement started by Haji Sharatullah in Bengal to bring like Bengali Muslims back on the true path of Islam was one of the religious reform movement which had bearing of communalism in 19th century. Later, people like Said Ahmad, who despite of having scientific and rational approach projected Indian Muslims as separate community, that is Qawm, having interest different from others. Second stage was the liberal communism. It believed in the communal politics but liberal in democratic, humanist and nationalist values. It was basically before 1937. For example, organizations like Hindu Mahasabha, Muslim leagues and personalities like M.A. Jinnah, M.M. Malviya and Lala Lajpat Rai after 1920s. Third was the stage of extreme communalism. This has the fascist syndrome and it demanded for separate nation based on the fear and hatred. There was a tendency to use violence of language, deed and behavior. For example, Muslim leagues and Hindu Mahasabha after 1937. It spread as a byproduct of colonialism, of course, economic stagnations and absence of modern institutions of education and health. Now these factors caused competition. People started using nepotism, that is patronage bestowed on favoritism shown on basis of family relationship as business and politics, paying bribes to get government jobs, etc. Now short-term benefits from communalism started giving validity of communal politics. Later on, spread of education to peasants and small landlords gave rise to the new middle class as agriculture was becoming stagnant. So these people started demanding communal representation, and this way social base for communalism was widened. Middle class oscillated between anti-imperialism and communalism. So communalism started rooting deeply as it was expression of aspirations and interest of middle class for less opportunity. Further, from the beginning of upper caste Hindus dominated colonial services as they adopted early to colonial structure. Because of Mughal rule in 1857 and the 1857 revolt, colonial government was suspicious towards Muslim and they patronized Hindus. This resulted in resentment in Muslims in the late 19th century, and they then formed a pressure group under Sayyid Ahmad Khan to bargain as separate bargain as a separate Muslim community. So in contrast of Congress standpoint was always focused on rights and freedom of individual, not on particular community. So in several parts of religious distinction coincided with social class distinction caused communal distortion. So communal outlook was given not by participants but by the officials, politicians and journalists. So in fact, agrarian conflicts did not assume communal color until 20th century. For example, Pabna agrarian movement, which we will discuss in our further classes. So communalism represented a struggle between two upper classes, that is strata for power, privileges and economic gain. For example, in Western Punjab at that time, Muslim landlords opposed Hindu moneylenders. So in Eastern Bengal, Muslim jotidars opposed Hindu zamindars. Later on, communalism developed as a weapon of economically and politically reactionary social classes and political forces. Now let us now understand how this entire divide and rule thing was there. So communalism was a channel for providing service to colonialism and the Jahagirdar class, that is the land officials. British authorities supported communal feelings and divided Indian society for their authoritative ruling. As we have already discussed in our previous slide about separate electorate, like the official patronage and favor having communal business was very common. Communal press and persons and agitations were shown extraordinary tolerance. So communal demands were accepted, thus politically strengthening communal organizations. So the British started accepting communal organization and leaders as the real spokesperson of communities and adopted a policy of non-actions against communalism. In fact, for the same reasons, even the communal rights were not crushed. Separate electorate started in 1909 to communal award in 1932 fulfilled the wishes of British authorities of ruling India by dividing the societies on communal lines. Now in parallel, there was introduction of strong Hindu religious element in nationalist thoughts and propagandas. For example, Bal Gangadhar Tilak popularized Ganesh Puja and Shivaji Mahotsav and taking deep in Ganga. So programs related to Ganesh Puja and Shivaji Mahotsav were not initiated to support the interest of Hindus. However, both Ganesh and Shivaji were associated with emotions of number of Hindus. This was used by leaders as a tool to be politically awakening Indians. But Indian history in schools and colleges were given communal and unscientific color. This kept Muslims largely away from Congress till 1919. So in early decades, only 8 to 9% of members of Congress were Muslims. Gradually, religiosity became major contributory factor and it started intruding the non-religious and non-spiritual areas of life and also beyond the individual's private life. Though India is a secular country, but due to communal feelings, the secularization is getting affected. So secularization is narrowing down the spheres of religion to the private life of the individual. So communalism is basically becoming a belief system through which society, economy and polity are viewed and expanded and around which effort is being made to organize politics. With these unprecedented changes, the best atmosphere of communal harmony should have created in India, and according to acceptations of Mahatma Gandhi, this country should have become an example in this direction. But that certainly did not happen. So let us now know why communalism still persists and is increasing in the modern India. So Constitution of India gives certain fundamental rights to the citizens, that is the individuals, but in case of minorities, the whole community has been given fundamental rights under Article 28, 29 and 30, according to which they are free to manage their educational institutions and have right to conserve their own culture. But these rights are being used above the individual rights by the personal law boards guided by their own community laws, as it was seen in Shah Bano case, which we will discuss separately in another lecture. So there is also resentment against such personal laws, and clamor is increasing for uniform civil code, which is also mentioned under Article 44 of the DPSPs, that is the Directive Principles of State Policies of our Indian Constitution. So this will help in narrowing the religious cleavages. In absence of uniform civil code, there is still a perception that all communities have divergent and contradictory interests. Consequently, the community-based pressure groups bargain for their own community. At political level, these communities compete for power and resources. This competition in turn escalates to major conflicts. So politicians try to turn these communists into vote banks, and different communities became voterage of compartment. Now, since independence, India has been pursuing the ideal of nation building based on secularism. Even after 68 years of independence, India is still burning under the fire of communalism. Though there are various reasons responsible for this, but few of them have been discussed here in this particular video. So understanding the reasons which play the role in continuation of communalism are: first one is religious, and the second one is political, and the third one is socio-economic, and the fourth one is international. So in the first, that is the religious and fundamental, should be considered responsible for communalism. After all, our belief alone is true, and rest is untrue, is incomplete. We find this kind of mentality of fundamentalist. As per this mentality, when the followers of any other religious community, sect or subsect indulges in their activities, they certainly come in conflict with others. Now, reason is quite evident. They do not have tolerance, which is absolutely necessary for the country like India, a land of different religious communities. They become the cause of confrontation, malice and struggle. Now, politicians also play a villainous role in creating serious communal situations in India. There was a politics at the root of painful division of India in 1947 in the name of particular religious community. But even after paying a heavy price in the form of partition, in many riots provoked thereafter, we can find the involvement directly or indirectly of political parties or their supporters. So along with this, for the sake of vote bank, the policy of appeasement, selection of candidate on the basis of community, sect or subsect and caste are flaring up religious sentiments at the time of elections, led to the rise of communalism. So these practices are still continued, and the country is bearing heavy loss because of it, as we all know. So we can witness many adverse results of these practices in the further time. Socio-economic conditions of India, though after independence has improved, and even the economic reforms after 1919 has been instrumental in improving such conditions, but still there are many challenges in front of Indian society which are becoming threat for its diversity. Population, poverty, illiteracy and unemployment, they create a lot of compulsion, I would say, especially before the younger generation. That is why many from younger generation, because of lack of right thinking, remain unemployed and in the state of poverty, or they get involved in the evil like communalism. So the efforts being made for uprooting poverty, illiteracy and unemployment are not as fruitful as they should be. So external elements including the non-state actors also have a role in worsening the problem of communalism and making it serious. We cannot mention the name of any particular country in this regard, but scholars and those who think on this problem from time to time have highlighted this fact. Now let us move on to our next slide and understand the same point. and the main reason for involvement of external elements or their roles in the riots. So the first one is the main reason for involvement of external elements or their roles in the riots are as follows, which you can see on your screen. First one is to create an atmosphere of instability so that it becomes socially weak. Second is to hope for gaining sympathy from minorities. Third one is to try to weaken the economic structure of a foreign country. And fourth one is with the aim to conceal their own incompetence. Let us now briefly discuss some of the infamous communal violences in India. We will discuss them in very brief, not going in detail. So partition of India in 1947 was the first one. So after partition, millions of population were forced to move from both sides of the border. Hindus in Pakistan and Muslims in India were killed in masses. Women were raped and many children lost their parents. There was hatred everywhere. Violence didn't see anything except bloodshed. Later, it turned in the problem of refugees, and their rehabilitation became one of the biggest challenges for independent India. The second one was in 1984, that is the anti-Sikh riots. So this was the another bloodshed in India where Sikhs in large number were massacred by anti-Sikh mob. So this massacre took place in response to the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi by his own Sikh bodyguards in response to her actions authorizing the military operation, which we all know, the Operation Blue Star. Third one was ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Hindu Pandits in 1989. So Kashmir is known as the heaven of India, and it was known for its Kashmiriyat, that is the reflection of love, peace and harmony through brotherhood and unity of Hindu. So Muslims and other communities living together. But the brotherhood saw serious blow due to the extremist Islamic terrorism in the Kashmir Valley, which led to mass killing and large-scale exodus of Kashmiri Pandits from the valley to the various regions and corners of India, giving them the status of refugee in their own country. Since then, the valley is under the grip of communal violence, and the ongoing unrest has become the problem for the development of the people. The fourth one is the Babri Masjid demolition in Ayodhya in 1992. So according to Hindu mythology, Ayodhya is the birthplace of Lord Rama, and therefore it is sacred place for Hindu religion. But in medieval period, the Mughal general Mir Baqi built this mosque named after the Mughal ruler Babur. So there were disputes since then, and riots also took place. But in 1990, due to some political mobilization, there was this atmosphere of protest by Hindu religious groups, and the large-scale Kar Sevak visited Ayodhya from all parts of the country in support of demolishing the Babri Masjid and building Ram Temple there. So these movements caused huge bloodshed, and since then it is a disputed matter. So after this, violence was followed by Godhra incident in 2002, where Kar Sevak returning from Ayodhya in Sabarmati Express were killed by fire in the coaches of train. So this act followed by the extended communal violence in Gujarat, and the violence is black spot in the history of Gujarat and the nation too, as people were killed without any mercy. So Hindu-Muslims community became antagonists to each other. Till now, people are fighting for justice in Supreme Court with a ray of hope from Indian judiciary. So third one is the Assam communal violence, which happened in 2012. So speaking about Assam communal violence, which happened in 2012, the northeastern states are known for its distinguished tribal population and ethnic diversity, and large-scale Bangladeshi emigration has changed the demography of northeastern states, which often becomes reasons for clashes. So in 2012, there were these ethnic clashes between the Bodos, that is the tribals, Christian and Hindu faith, and Muslims. Ethnic tensions between the Bodos and Bengali-speaking Muslims escalated into a riot, and in Korijar in July 2012, unidentified Mesirins were killed 4 Bodo youths at Jaipur. The sixth one is the Muzaffarnagar violence, which happened in 2013. So it was the cause of ethnic clash between the Jat and the Muslim community. It's very much disputed and has many versions. So according to few, it was started after some suspicious post on social media platform Facebook. According to some, it was escalated after the Eve teasing case in Shamili. So let the reasons be unknown, but what matters is the nature and scale of loss the country and the respect to human resources and the peace. So in all these hundreds of other riots, one thing is common, that is the huge majority of victims have nothing to do with communal hatred. In short, preparators of violence and the victims of violence are different persons. Similar to above mentioned list, there are many more which has impact on masses and killed people on large scale. Bombay bomb incident in 1993, attack on Akshardham in 2002 by Lashkar-e-Toiba, and Varanasi bomb attack in 2006 are few of them having anti-Hindu outlook. So lot of movies have been pictured on the above mentioned communal violence, which can give understanding about the damages and harm done by this violence. Bombay and Black Friday based on 1992 attacks, and Train to Pakistan based on novel of Kushawat Singh about partition of India in 1947. There was this another film called as Gandhi. It portrayed of direct action day and partition of India. Also Hawaii based on 1984 Sikh riots, and marches about Punjab terrorism. So these are few ones to name, and there are many more which may be sensitive to us about such issues, so that in future it can be avoided. So guys, that is all for this particular lecture. In our upcoming lecture, we will be discussing the part 2 of this particular subtopic, as in the consequences of communalism. We will also discuss what state has done to stop this entire communalism thing, what are the steps required that to stop such incidents, then challenges of social media and freedom of expression, and then we will end this particular topic with conclusion. Which of course you can write in your essays or in your mains answer sheets. So guys, I would suggest you not to miss the second part of this particular lecture. So that's all for this class guys. Thank you so much for watching. अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लगे, do hit the like button. Also subscribe to our channel if you are new to this platform, and don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can get notified every time we are on YouTube. Thanks a lot.